To get the best result, it's all about ambition, hard work, and doing the right things right. In 1982, two Dutch brothers invented an automatic way to time RC races. The system of the company, called AMBIT, was quickly adopted by pro racing series like NASCAR and IndyCar. Automated timing for mass participation sport events was also invented in the Netherlands by Champion Chip in the early 90s, giving athletes a personal chip time of their performance. In 2008, the two companies joined forces and MYLAPS Sports Timing was born. We never stop innovating with state-of-the-art timing systems and digital services to enhance the event experience. With our X2 platform, we bring motorsports timing to a whole new level with two-way communication. Our event app and photo video create the ultimate event experience for athletes and fans with live data and personal content like photos and videos. SpeedHive provides a pro-level racing experience for amateur and club events by analyzing personal data. We capture performances of over 20 million racers and athletes every year and use live data to spark emotions. MYLAPS. Experience progress.
On our way back from the lake bed in Monterey, we briefly stop in the Arizona desert for a short oval race before we head back to left and right turns in mid-Ohio next week. Short ovals pose a unique challenge to the drivers in the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series, and it's the first track of its kind to grace the 2019 schedule. We're in full swing of the season as the standings shake up, leaving Henry Bennett poised near the top as the halfway point nears. There's still lots of racing left though, and tonight we'll take on 150 laps around ISM Raceway. Welcome to the Diet Coke 150 Memorial, race in honor of Kevin Kuhns, the man who brought the Coca-Cola bottling company of Kokomo to iRacing and to the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series. We race tonight to remember a great friend and a great man. And while the setting sun beats down on the sizzling asphalt here in Avondale, Arizona, we'll do what Kevin would have wanted. We're gonna race the Diet Coke 150 Memorial. Welcome to the 1 mile racetrack here in Avondale, Arizona. My name is Kyle Heyer. I'm joined tonight by Finian DeCuna. And Finian, we love open wheel racing. We love it at any racetrack, but ISM Raceway in particular is a very unique challenge. What makes it so tricky around this 1 mile course?
Yeah, really the thing that makes it so tricky is the high rate of speed these guys are going at. They're flying through some of these corners at going in at 200 miles an hour, slowing down to around 150, 160, but they're going through here really fast. The laps are only about 18, 19 seconds, which is extremely quick. That's almost Cup at Bristol times. So these guys are going here at a high rate of speed, and also really the big challenge is going to be the aero wash these guys are going to face off of one another.
So qualifying underway, about 5 minutes left here. Not a whole lot of drivers have taken to the racetrack. Only 14, roughly half the field, has jumped on the racetrack as of yet. 18.7 second lap for Andrew Kinsella, who's currently atop the board. Let's take a quick look at our point standings, at least the top of the point standings, as we come into tonight. Henry Bennett had a spectacular run at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca a couple weeks ago. He sits 15 points ahead ahead of Ray Kingsbury, who is absent tonight on that Spark VR team. But you know who is new to the Spark VR team this evening is the 4 of Flynn Lazier. And he's had a great run last week at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca as well. So we want to welcome him to the Spark VR team. We want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, though, the MYLAPS company, for coming on board and sponsoring this series. They've been spectacular to us so far, and we really thank them for their support, as well as the Coca-Cola bottling company of Kokomo, Indiana. Again, they've come on board to sponsor not only part of the season, but this race in particular, and of course Kevin Kuhns, the man who brought them to iRacing and to SimTV. If we go down the line of how they ended up here, Kevin Kuhns is that man, and unfortunately passed away. So we're going to be this race is run in memory of him tonight. But we want to thank Coca-Cola bottling company of Kokomo, and you should get yourself a can of Coke or a bottle of Coke, whatever floats your boat, before we start the race tonight. And I don't have a can of Coke because I ran out. So if anybody wants to get me some cans of Coke, I would really appreciate that. So I would love to crack one open right now before we get ready to go racing, but can't do that this evening. But a couple more cars on the racetrack. Riley Thompson in the 58 working his way onto the back straightaway. Interesting thing to note here, Finian. The back straightaway in NASCAR, they let him use the whole racetrack from wall to wall, and that is the situation we have here tonight.
Yeah, and that's quite surprising when it first loaded up into the server, and I imagine from them leaving it as the open bell, these guys are free to use it. So you're free to use it if you wish. However, the really big thing is that these guys got to worry about potentially damaging their wings. It's definitely possible to do. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But it's always a little bit of a risk getting down there because you're slamming the parts of your car onto the asphalt surface. So that transition, especially from the banking to the apron, could be really dangerous.
I'm watching Riley Thompson. He was all the way down to the inside wall in the back straightaway, so fair game at least for qualifying. So if he's going to come on through, we'll see where Thompson lines up. Currently 14th. Will he better himself on the second lap? An 18.886. That's going to be good enough for inside the top 10, and it will put him P6 as he comes around. Joshua Chin in the 93 in his purple car is out there on the racetrack as well. Let's see what he does in the back straight. Turns all the way down to the wall. And again, basically, I think the reason why we got this backstretch opened is to really eliminate any possibility of someone getting shoved down there and really just opening up to everyone. It's a fair, level playing ground. You got to be careful, though. You mentioned damaging your wing. Well, also coming back up onto the racetrack off into turn number 3. That's going to be a challenge that drivers will have to negotiate on restarts, and we do expect to see some restarts tonight. These cars are so fast. There's over 30 of them here this evening, and that's probably going to lead to some issues on the restarts and throughout the race in general. There's just a lot of cars out here to negotiate this 1 mile track. Track conditions for this evening, Finian, 74 in the air, 79 on the racetrack. Relatively cool temperatures for Avondale, Arizona at this time of year, and the sun has dipped below the grandstands in the background, and that means that the track temperature is only going to drop, which means high grip levels. We'll wait for those lights to come on, but it's going to be a short race. 150 laps is not long around here, Finian. If this race were to go green from start to finish, less than an hour would be the running time this evening.
Yeah, again, I don't think we will go green all the way, although that would be nice. I think we will definitely see a few cautions. Typically, what you see with Indy cars at these short tracks, typically guys get into each other at some point or another, just being so close to the racing and just so really fast the track.
Henry Bennett comes on through, jumps to second on the board. He is the points leader coming into the night. An 18.747 puts him on the front row. Brennan Lichtenberg in the number 10. Take a look at the point standings one more time. He's sitting third in the standings and will likely be second after tonight because of the absence of Ray Kingsbury in that Spark VR car. So Lichtenberg sitting in a good spot in the standings so far this season. And we're pretty much at the halfway point in the season, Finian. So if you got speed, you better be showing it right now if you want to have a chance at the championship later this season. He jumps to 11th on his second qualifying lap.
Yeah, and going back to Henry Bennett, too, he's really showing that you don't necessarily need a win a race to lead the championship, as Kingsbury, Lichtenberg, and Blocker all have a win in behind him, but he has 0 wins to his name. However, he does have 3 top 5s and 4 top 10s in his 4 starts, so very consistent for that 007.
Tim Doyle qualifies 23rd. He's actually the only previous winner of this race in the field tonight. He'll be starting from pretty deep in the field, though. So qualifying looks like it's mostly complete. Only a couple drivers did not take laps. Logan Simmons, Michael Peters, and Jonathan Goke in the number 08. So qualifying is complete. It'll put Andrew Kinsella and Henry Bennett on the front row. Adam Blocker in third. Bradley Walters fourth. Joshua Chin rounds out your top 5. So 150 laps here at ISM Raceway for the Diet Coke 150 Memorial in honor of Kevin Kuhns. And It's going to be a fun one. ISM Raceway in a stock car is fun, but in an Indy car is just blazing fast, almost as fast as stock cars at a place like Bristol. So they're averaging speeds well over 150 miles an hour around here, and getting up into the 170s even on the back straightaway. So going to be a fun one to watch tonight for sure as we get ready to go racing, gridding up for the 5th race of the season. And on the pit road, everyone jumping on the racetrack. Joe Branch, of course, got that, trying to get a better look at the scheme. The MYLAPS logo's on the car this evening. Of course, MYLAPS sponsoring this race, or this series, actually, and come on board and sponsor, of course, providing all sorts of transponder and timing and scoring services. So if you've got a race car of any kind, or you're participating in any kind of racing, whether it be running or whether it be driving or any other medium, MYLAPS has got the products for you, so be sure to check out their products at MYLAPS' website, link provided in the video description.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to grid 29 of the drivers we have here tonight. However, there are a few penalties being handed out at the moment. They'll be assessed to Bradley Walters, Lee McQuinn, Jonathan Goke, and Logan Simmons. Jay Muffield, keep an eye if there's any more.
Well, it explains why they
drivers
didn't qualify. They'll be starting at the rear of the field regardless, so they didn't bother wasting their time on the qualifying laps. So, gridding up behind the pace car here, let's roll through our starting lineup here on the front row. It's going to be Andrew Kinsella in the number 14 alongside Henry Bennett, all the way from the UK in his 007. He's on the outside of the front row and leading the points as he comes into the night. Row number 2 going to be Adam Blocker in the 74 all the way from California. Bradley Walters starting in 4th in his number 56. He's from Indiana. That's where the Coca-Cola bottling plant is. That's a tongue twister. Joshua Chin starts 5th. In his number 93 from Florida, alongside Jeff Drake from Michigan in his number 92. Drake on the outside of row number 3. Row 4, Christopher Demerit in the 144. He's had some moderate success so far this season. He is from New Jersey. Tony Showen from the Midwest in 8th in his number 31. Last time we were at Noval, he was upside down on the back straightaway. Let's see if he can improve his luck tonight. Ryan Norton, a new name in the series, starts in 9th in the number 6 car, also from Indiana. Simon Bryant in the 22 from the Northwest. He starts 10th. Andreas Eich in 11th. Brendan Lichtenberg, 3rd in the standings coming into the night. He starts 12th on the outside of row number 6. And 13th, 14th is going to be Riley Thompson. David Adams. Adams is a winner so far this season back at Texas Motor Speedway. We'll see if he can repeat here that tonight. And 15th place. We'll let the rest of this scroll along the bottom of the screen, but 15th is one of these Spark VR drivers. That is Chad Simpson in the 42. From Texas, John Downing in the 40 on the outside of row number 8.
Yeah, so Bradley Walters and also Jeff Drake, you can add him to the list of drivers that are getting an EOL. So 2nd and 3rd on the outside row will be having to give up their spots and drop to the back. They have to do it quickly because they're getting ready to go green here.
Yeah, pretty quick pace lap here. Only 1 mile around this racetrack. Barely enough time to get that grid in, but rolling out of turn 4, that Ford FR500 pace car is going to peel off, and it's going to leave the 007 on the front row alongside Andrew Kinsella in the 14 car. Green flag flies, racing at ISM Raceway.
And a great start for Kinsella down into turn 1. Adam Blocker trying to follow Kinsella on through to get past Henry Bennett. He will, as everyone gets sore out through turns 1 and 2.
Adam Blocker on the way in, so no one really taking that shortcut on the lap here. So I wonder if they're going to really be enforcing it during the race, just keep people off of it. We'll see how they do that, but already Chad Simpson in the 42 trying to do something towards the middle of the pack here as they complete lap number 1 already. That's how fast things change, but look at Adam Blocker. He's coming for the lead on the exit of turn 2.
He's wasting no time to get back to Kinsella. They're going to duke it out already. You see Blocker running high, get out of the aero wash, trying to get a better line on Kinsella here and use his fresh tires while he can.
2 laps complete already. The sun has dipped below the horizon. The lights will come on here before the end of the race. If this goes green, only 47 minutes of racing remaining. Throughout the field, everyone kind of getting single filed out. The conversation tonight, dirty air following the driver in front of you is going to mean that you don't have any downforce. So you got to be careful when you're following somebody not to get yourself in trouble. Frank Levick, the 4th, back in 24th place on the inside of, I think that's Logan Simmons in the 75 car. Actually, he's up the road. That's Jonathan Goke he's fighting with on the front straight. Couple laps in already and still battling back for about 25th spot. Up front, they kind of single filed out. Rob Powers in the 47. He is on the outside getting around Tim Doyle in the 11. Doyle's up a couple spots. He started 23rd, but behind him, behind Flynn Lazier, there's some action. That's Dakota DiCienzo in the 43 car. And on goes Logan Simmons in the 75. So Simmons is up a bunch of spots as well here early in the going. Some smoke Somebody sliding around here early in the race. Brendan Lichtenberg in 9th place. He started the night in 12th. He's up 3 spots, and he's got David Adams right behind him. Adams has won a race this season, but really need to be consistent. You can't just expect to win and be a champion. You got to go in there, not only win races, but also finish well every week if you can. That's a tall task here, especially at a track like ISM Raceway. Right behind Riley Thompson on the inside of John Downing, down into turn 1. Swings around the inside, will take that spot away. I think the inside is going to be preferred line, Finian, but what do you think about that outside lane later in the race to carry momentum?
I definitely think you can carry on through, but I think these guys might need some rubber and a little bit more grip to use that outside. But definitely is a factor, especially, we always talk about the racetracks changing over time. They can definitely be something to keep an eye out for.
So up front, Andrew Kinsella leads the way by 0.4 of a second over Adam Blocker. Henry Bennett sits 3rd, Tony Schowen in 4th, and Schowen started the night in 8th place. It's a pretty solid run for the 31 car so far. Simon Bryant, then Joshua Chin got really tight to the wall out of turn 4. He's got Christopher Demerit, who's been solid on the oval track so far this season in the 144 right behind him and trying to chase him down on the back straightaway. How much does the draft work here at a short track like this?
It works quite a bit when you're up close, but I think really the worst part of it is the reverse effect of the draft is that arrow wash in the corner. So it's not a really big effect on the straightaway. It's more of trying to make sure you get out of it in the corners. You might be able to get a little bit but again, these straightaways are fairly short.
Following on board with the 144 as he tries to chase down Joshua Chen. Let's see. Does he take a different line? Yes, he does. He's going to offset and try to turn up underneath the 93. Look at the sun out of turn 4. Glaring in the driver's eyes. That shouldn't be an issue for too much longer as it dips below the grandstands, but off into turns 1 and 2. A little bit higher bank than turns 3 and 4. You can carry about 170 plus miles an hour. Look at the speeds on the back straightaway. 193, 194, 195 off into turn 3, and sustained speeds of over 180 through turns 3 and 4. Incredible speeds around this 1 mile track. Leaders out of turn 2 already, and kind of single-filed out, Finney, and passing going to be a premium, so that means the pit stop situation is going to get interesting. How much strategy will we see, if any?
I definitely think we'll see quite a bit. I think it's probably the best way to make it pass as Chad Simpson and Joe Branch are going side by side.
Yeah, this is a battle for 18th place right now. Actually make it 17th as Branch takes a spot away, but Simpson back to the outside, going to pull even with him. Here comes another car to the inside. That's Flynn Lazier in the 4. And he'll dive to the inside, trying to take 2 spots away, and he'll get at least one of them, and he's trying to get another spot away from Branch.
Yeah, Branch is outnumbered. He's got 2 Spark VR cars surrounding him from behind, although they're in his mirror for the moment.
And right behind them, that's Brandon Trost in the 66 and Logan Simmons in the 75, who was kind of stalled in his climb forward, but now dives to the inside of the 66, real tight corners out of turn 2 as they make their way down the backstretch. And it does look like that inside of the yellow line in the backstretch is an off-limits zone for the race. It was fair game in practice and qualifying, but I don't think drivers are expected to race down there. Trost and Simmons are just almost dooring each other with the side pods on the front straight. Close racing there. Trost gets turned. Does he save it? He does. An incredible save, but he's going to lose a bunch of track position here. He'll drop back. So contact there with the 75 of Logan Simmons. Here's a look from up above.
Yeah, just got clipped by, who's that?
That was Logan Simmons.
Yeah, he got clipped by Simmons' right front wing.
And the 66 did a great job saving it. It's not easy to drift an IndyCar, let me tell you, with all that speed and all that downforce you got. Once you get sideways, typically it's a crash. So the 66 did a good job. We lost a lot of track position, and that's going to be so frustrating.
Oh, there's a wreck off of turn 4, caution out. It's Jonathan Goat.
Yeah, it's Goat upside down. Dakota DiCienzo is in the pits 4 laps down. Jeff Drake is also out. What happened to the 08, though? He was upside down out of turn 4, and like I said, when you get sideways, typically it's a crash. Here's a look. Just got the apron. And then it was the 41 of Niall McBride. Ooh, that was an ugly-looking wreck.
Yeah, McBride was doing everything he could to try to keep the car turned to the inside. Really hard to move these cars once you're in the corner.
Yeah, he just got into the catch fence and dead stop into the wall. But let's ride on board here. He's just going to catch the apron, had it in the slide, saved it, and then gets tagged in the left rear. And you can't really blame that on McBride. I mean, you're carrying so much speed, it's so tricky to get these cars slowed down. So the 41, I'm sure he did everything he could do, but it wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, and I think Brandon Trost is going to be happy that caution came out as a chance to fix his rear wing, which is replaceable. So looking at the car, doesn't look like anything else is damaged.
Yeah, and the 41 was on the brakes and turning hard left. Couldn't miss it, though, so nothing the 41 could have done. Everybody on the pit lane, though, Finney. And what do you think about that? Is that the strategy you would have played?
Yeah, I think strategy I would have played. You know, you might think 15 laps isn't a lot on tires, but it definitely adds up. You really, even if you have a small runs, you really want to come down and get tires. And I think even bigger too is I think everyone wants to try to be on the same strategy as far as fuel, because these guys are nowhere near where they can go on fuel.
Did Adam Blocker beat the 14 out of pit lane? It looked like he might have. And again, with how important track position is going to be tonight, the pits are going to be that much more important. So Adam Blocker leads the race off of pit lane.
Oh, wow, and he beat it by barely anything.
So the car
was really close, actually.
In front of the 74 right now is Andrew Wood, who sits back in 26th place. And he is going to get the wave around here shortly, and this will get him back on the tail end of the lead lap here. So first caution out, lap number 19. We've seen no lead changes so far. That's about to change as Blocker comes across the start-finish line. And there is our first official lead change of the night, done in the pits. Lap 20 of 150 complete.
And Blocker almost had a near tie with Kinsella. I was looking back at it on pit road. He got him by maybe the leading edge of the wing coming off pit road. It was mighty close.
Blocker started the night in third, had a solid start to the evening, and then under the pits. You know, it's going to be important to get everything right, and of course the pit stop times are randomized, so you can't really gain a whole lot there, but where you can gain is on entry and exit into your box, being as efficient as possible, getting in and out of that pit stall, and Blocker did a really good job, maybe got a little lucky in the pits. Let's take a look at the pit road times. He had a 7.7 second stop to Andrew Kinsella's 8.2, so it's like the pit crew did their job as well on the 74. Again, this race is brought to you by the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Kokomo, Indiana, and they've been really cool. They've been super interactive with us and with the drivers of the Indy Elite Series, and we want to thank them for coming on board sponsoring this race. And like I said, I got no Coca-Cola in my fridge. I'd like to right now, but I'm out, so if you want to send me some, I'd be thrilled with that. As the field rolls across for lap number 21. So restarts here, Finian. We talked about track position being so important. How aggressive are you going to be here on the restart, and how do you be aggressive on it with a single file restart right up against the wall?
Yeah, it's really tough to try to be aggressive on the restart because you know you're with the single file starts, you're allowed to pass on the outside. And that's typically why you see everyone go almost right up against the wall to block that lane because once the green flag comes out, you're free to pass wherever you can. So you can definitely try to make up some time like that, trying to jump the start. But again, it's all about timing too. So you want to make sure you time it to a place where you could make a pass, potentially into turn one. But yeah, it's very hard to time these starts. And one of the big things to watch out too is the accordion effect when everyone kind of bunches up together. Make sure a wreck doesn't come from that because I've definitely seen it in the past in several different series where everyone tries to bunch up together and get close, and a wreck ends up happening.
Pace car still out of the racetrack. Let's take a look at our track conditions. They haven't changed yet, Finian, but we do expect these to change as the sun sets. We haven't seen them really adjust. And as I say that, it drops a degree down to 78. So I do expect that the track temperature will be a bigger factor. And the drivers will only be getting faster as the night goes on. The track gets rubbered in and the track cools off. This place is going to be ridiculously fast by the end of the race. 1 degree and the lights are off on the pace car, Finian. We're coming to the restart this time through. Is it too early to make a prediction of who's going to win? Because I think we have kind of figured out who our top drivers are. Blocker, Kinsella, Bennett, Demerit, Lichtenberg, and you could even throw drivers like Flynn Lazier in there after last week. So anybody you got on your mind who might win this race?
I mean, pretty much those drivers right there. I'm looking at Kinsella and Blocker. They pretty much took off from the rest of the field and were in a kind of world of their own. So I think we'll see something similar to that on this run.
Field rolling through turns 3 and 4, right up against the wall to preserve their running position because you can pass to the right before the start-finish line on the restart, and they don't want to get caught out for that. So green flag going to be back in the air here at ISM Raceway, lap number 23, and Blocker takes off.
Yeah, fantastic start for him. Demerit got a good run on Chin to the corner, but couldn't get it done. He's going to wash up and actually be under attack from behind him as Ryan Norton's taking a shot.
Yeah, Ryan Norton in the number 6, a new name. He might have been here before, but I haven't seen him. Oh no, the 144 loose out of control in turns 3 and 4. He saves it and will continue. Another great save by one of these drivers, but it's going to cause a big stack up out of turn 4. Does everyone miss him? It looks like they will. All that track position gone in a blink of an eye, Finian. How frustrating is that?
I don't know if he's more frustrated or probably shocked and just trying to get himself to calm down, because that could have been a race-ending moment for Demerit there, and he's lucky that he actually saved it. So I think if anything, he's more happy that he didn't crash out of the race just there.
Brandon Tross in the 66 kind of rooted up out of the way down in turn 1, a couple laps to go, trying to recover, but wasn't a great restart, sits 24th, and even with all that chaos around him, he wasn't able to capitalize on it. So we'll keep an eye on the 66 as the race goes on, but he got put back early and hasn't really been able to make much ground. Joe Branch side by side into turn 4 with Logan Simmons. Simmons takes 17th away, and this is a good run for the 75 car so far. A bit of a tangle with the 66 earlier tonight, but he started at the tail end of the field back in 30th place up to 17th.
Yeah, I'm looking at a battle between Andreas Ike and Lichtenberg. They're going at it. Ike has been trying to find some sort of way around Lichtenberg, but Lichtenberg has been blocking off every path of entry. Here comes Ike to the inside, but can't get it done.
Yeah, again, the dirty air is going to be a big issue following drivers. So that means you have to take a different line, but I don't think we've really established which line is quicker right now. I think the bottom is probably the preferred groove around, but you can defend so nicely on the outside, carrying more momentum. And Bradley Walters is now entering this fight in the 56 right behind this group. Now using the slipstream to try to close in on the 76. But again, the dirty air going to really hurt this 56 car as they roll through turns 3 and 4. Kind of a big stack up out of turn 4, and Flynn Lazier's in the middle of it. Rob Powers is right ahead of it, and Christopher Demerit trying to recover from his big slide a couple laps ago. He's certainly fast, but track position matters so much that he's going to have to get really creative. Here comes Simmons to the inside, trying to take 16th away from the 144.
There's a really big gaggle of cars here, and this could be kind of a dangerous situation.
3 wide on the front straightaway. And they're going to go back to 2 wide as Christopher Demerit tries to get around Rob Powers in a stack up out of turn 2. Simmons has to back out of it. There's the Spark VR car driven by Flynn Lazier in 15th place. And looking off the gearbox there is the 144, and they're battling hard for these spots.
And Simmons now with a run on Demerit. Down towards turn 1, looks like he's going to have to back off for it for now.
And Demerit up the racetrack trying to get a run on the back straightaway, but that's going to leave the inside open for Simmons, and he's struggling with his connection right now, which is going to be a problem as we get throughout the night. A couple drivers struggling with that. And I see some smoke up ahead. I think that was more internet connectivity issues more than anything. Joe Branch in the 28 car slipping backwards just a little bit. He started the night in 21st, moved up a few spots up to 16th. He's dropped back to around 20th now, so this restart not great for the 28 car. Brendan Lichtenberg, Andreas Ike continue their fight. Bradley Walters locked in that battle as well. 3 cars for 7th place. And just behind them, Riley Thompson in the 58 started his night in 13th place. A slow and steady climb forward for the TDR car.
Not much talk of what's going on in front, because Adam Blocker is just checked out from the rest of the field, as well as Kinsella and Bennett. They all are about 1.5 seconds next back from the 4th place car of Simon Bryant.
Rob Powers and Demerit fighting out of turn 2, and that got really tight there for a second. And Demerit, you can tell he's frustrated right now, right behind the 47. He goes way up the racetrack in turns 3 and 4, trying to slide his car between the 47 and the wall. Gets blocked off on corner exit. He's so frustrated. Down to the inside in turn 1. Can he complete the pass this time? He's going to clear the 47, slide up the racetrack. No dice! Slide job on the 47. He gets it done. How about a slide job in an open wheel car for the 144? Great job there.
Yeah, that's a very dangerous move to pull off in an open wheel car, because you can't really make any sort of contact whatsoever. So you have to hope the other driver doesn't hit you and lets you in line. And Rob Powers did exactly that. And now he's under attack from Flynn Lazier behind him.
And here comes the 75 of Logan Simmons into the fight as well. A great mid-pack battle as Blocker continues to lead the race 0.8 of a second up the road. Some green flag running here, letting drivers kind of stretch their legs, let the tires wear out, and the cars come to them. Simmons gets by Rob Powers and puts him up to 16th place. And now Frank Levitt to 4th on the inside of the 47. Powers is struggling right now in that 47 car.
Yeah, it's not been a good climb forward for that car.
And there's Tony Shawan in the 31 car, who's currently 19th after starting 8th, down 11 spots. He's been as low as 25th place tonight, climbing forward the best he can, but put back early and trying to recover from that position. So to the inside of the 77, is he going to get it done? He's going to try off into turn 3. And look at the run Levitt gets on the outside in the other Spark VR car. Look at the run he's got. He's going to re-clear him. John Downing up the road. trying to close in on Christopher Demerit, can't get it done. So let's jump away from this battle for the meantime and jump back to Joe Branch in the 28 car. He's got Liam Quinn breathing down his neck. This 44 car, haven't heard a lot about him lately. Had a good start to the season, ran pretty well at Pocono. Started 24th tonight, he's been as low as 26th, but slowly but surely climbing up the grid.
There's also a solid battle going on between Lichtenberg, Ike, and Walters. Walters has been trying to get up to Andreas, but not really having a whole lot of success.
Yeah, this is the frustration level that we're going to see a lot tonight. We know how much the aero wash off these wings causes these drivers to really struggle right behind another car. So you might be faster than the guy in clean air, but when you get to him, it's like hitting a wall of air. There's nothing you can do. Your wings don't do you any good at that point, and you're just sliding the front tire. So Walters is going to have to try a different line to get around the 76. Let's ride on board with the 56 and see what he's trying, because he's following the 76 right through the middle of the corner, and you see how much he's pushing on exit. He just doesn't have the downforce to do anything. But now on the straightaways, the lack of downforce becomes a good thing. All that drag goes away and he closes in, but they get back to the corner and he struggles. Car on the apron in turns 3 and 4. That's Ryan Norton in the 6.
Yeah, from 6th place coming down onto pit road. Interesting turn of events here. I mean, nothing's wrong with that car, so I guess it's a scheduled stop for the 6th car.
That broken arrow car down onto the pit lane, and doesn't look like there's any broken arrow on that car other than the logos. So pulls into the pits, he'll get some service, and we'll check in on him in a little while. Tim Doyle and Christopher Demerit fighting for 11th, and Demerit's doing a good job recovering from that mistake, and I think he's probably one of the favorites. If he could get up inside the top 3 or 4, he'd certainly be a threat as he tries to fight this 11 car for the 11th spot. And remember, Tim Doyle is the only previous winner of this race in the field right now, so Tim Doyle has a winning track record here at ISM Raceway. We'll see if he can repeat here tonight. For the lead, though, getting tight. Some lap traffic for the 74. That's brought Kinsella right into the mix. That's a Spark VR car going 1 lap down. Dan Ench in the 52, and Kinsella to the inside. He definitely got the benefit of that lap car that Blocker did not get, but now Kinsella understeers big time through turns 1 and 2 and lets Blocker escape.
Yeah, this is really, again, these guys run open setup, so you have to really kind of set up your car, not just for driving the track, but setting your car up for when you're in traffic and have reduce arrows. So if you can set your car up just right for that, it should be breezy. And you can definitely tell who's got their car better set up to handle those situations, because they struggle, especially even the leaders too. They'll start to struggle once they get by lap traffic here, and they're approaching a lot of it.
Yeah, Andreas Ike and Walters, they're really tight right now. Walters almost in the fence out of turn 2, down to the inside of the back straightaway, trying to wrestle the spot away from the 76, off into turn 3. Side pod to side pod as they rocket through at 180 miles an hour. They're going to come off turn 4, drag racing down the front straight. Who's going to win this battle?
Yeah, Walter's trying to get some sort of side drive, anything he can on Ike. He's going to dive into the corner. He's going to clear him by turn 2.
Great pass for the 56. Finally got around. But now, that was a bit of a block there off into turn 3. Took the race car all the way up to the fence and stalled out the 76. And that brings Riley Thompson right into the mix. Now that's going to be a battle for 8th place as Thompson tries to close in.
You're going to see these guys be very aggressive, a lot of take and not a whole lot of give, because passing, like we said earlier, is going to come in a premium tonight.
On the back straightaway now, the sun really getting lower and lower, the light level decreasing. We expect the lights to come on here pretty soon. About 33 minutes of racing remaining if we were to stay green to the end, and we're looking like we're going to have a pretty long green flag run at the moment. We're almost a third of the way through this race as Blocker comes out at turn 4. We will hit the 33% mark. Another car on the pit lane, that is Jeff Drake in the 92. He's 44 laps down. Finian just has not been his night so far.
Yeah, it's really not. I was looking at what happened earlier. He got damage on the pace lap. Had to come in and get that fixed. He went 4 laps down immediately and was just been struggling to get up to speed.
Flynn Lazier in the number 4 Spark VR machine closing in on John Downing.
There's a car spinning in front of the leaders. I think Andrew Wood in the wall on the inside on the front straightaway. He's going to come to a stop. Caution. He's going to be out.
Yeah, that was Andrew Wood in the number 32 car and called it right in front of the leaders. That's the scary part about making your way through lap traffic, and he was on the inside of Brandon Tross in the 66. There was contact. He slid up the racetrack and out of turn 4, gave it throttle and smashed into the wall. And that car should be repairable, but slid up. Well, it was pretty hard to hit, wasn't it?
I think he's done. That left rear does not look good.
You mentioned that the leaders were right behind this, right
Blocker
in front of Blocker.
He got a great look at it, if I guess you want to call it a great look.
I don't think he wanted to be there, but he did get a good look at it. Well, the good news for Andrew Wood is even if he's out of the race, he can go grab an ice cold Coke and watch the rest of it here on Sim TV. Brought to you by MYLAPS and the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Kokomo, Indiana. So caution out for the second time tonight. Let's take a look at our race information so far. We've still only had one lead change that was done in the pits the last time through, but the strategy was shaken up there a little bit. Chad Simpson, Dan Ench, a couple other drivers a lap down with the strategy changing around. So onto the pit lane we're going to come, and for the drivers that already pitted, this is not really what they wanted to see because their track to lap down will have to take a wave around here as we complete lap number 53. All right, well, 4 Firestones and a tank of fuel, I think, is going to be the call, as it has been really all season. The exception of being WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca a couple weeks ago. There was some strategy played in the late going that seemed to work out for a couple drivers, and ooh, the 007 of Henry Bennett didn't really get a clean entry to his stall, kind of locked up, and was very careful not to make a mistake after that. And Kinsella got to the line, but who leads off the pit lane? It will be the 74. So that's been working out in Blocker's favor so far tonight.
Huh, I call BS on that, because I have Kinsella coming clearly across the line.
Let's take a look at this again, and we'll see. I mean, I definitely thought that.
No way.
I mean, I don't know what you would think. The line is the one with the cones on it, Finian. Am I incorrect in that assumption?
No, it should be. Yeah, it should be the green cones. I have no clue.
So let's go back one more time. Let's look as they leave the box here, and we're gonna try to see. I gotta get a better look because it's right after they leave the stall here. It should be the green cone, and to me, Finian, this is the. I mean, it's clear that the 14 has the lead coming off the pit lane area here. I mean,
yeah.
But so my only exception is if that MYLAPS transponder is at the rear of the car. If you scroll ahead just a little bit, you'll see that Blocker actually has the rear of the car cross the line first. And to my understanding, the transponders on these cars are either at the middle or towards the rear of the car, which might explain why the 74 got the lead there.
Really?
So it's not done by the front of the car. It's done by where the transponder crosses the line, and the MYLAPS transponder of the 74 beat the 14s to the pit exit line. And I think that's going to be a source of frustration, but it's the same for everybody. So now, interestingly enough, when it comes to the race, that could mean, in an interesting scenario, that a car could technically get the front wing to the line first and not be the winner. Although
that's why I'm surprised they don't put the transponder in the front of the car.
Well, because then if you hit something, you lose it, and it becomes a big problem. I mean, they put it in the strongest part of the car so that it doesn't fall off. Because transponders coming off is not fun.
Even in like by the front wheels, I understand not putting it by immediately on the nose, because that's detachable. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, I think that's the only reason I can justify the 74 being out front, because it was clear 14's front wing was at that pit out line. So that really leaves the only thing being.
What that really shows is the fact that that Blocker has the better pit stall, because he's able to get up to speed. And by the time Kinsella finally gets to the speed having that first spot, he's already at a deficit, even if he physically crosses the line first.
Yeah, well, that might be the case, but we're coming to the restart. Lap number 57. Blocker maintains the lead under yellow after our second crash of the night out of turn number 4 with the 32 of Andrew Wood getting all sorts of sideways. And lap 57 past the 1/3 mark. Green flag back in the air. Blocker fires off and tries to run away from Kinsella, who was closing in at the end of that last run.
Fairly clean start for everyone making their ways through the back straightaway.
And see if Kinsella can use the fresh Firestones to his advantage out of turn 4. He's really close right now, 0.2 of a second. Meanwhile, mid-pack Demerit is going to slip to 13th as we go back to the top spot because Kinsella is there. Can he do anything with Adam Blocker before the aero push starts to set in here on the tires?
Yeah, he already really has. I think Kinsella is going to try to do the best he can. Honestly, the best thing for him to do would be just kind of wait till they get back into lap traffic, because that's where Kinsella is making up a whole lot of time. And I won't have to deal a lot with the aero one, but he's been getting through the corner better in 3 and 4. He's been losing Blocker in 1 and 2, so he can try to come up with something here.
Tony Shawan in the 31 still trying to recover from a drop down the standings earlier. He's got Frank Levick the 4th and one of the Spartan VR machines to his inside quarter, but Rob Powers up the road, and as well as Logan Simmons. We know Shawan is very talented, was extremely competitive at Pocono as well as at Texas before getting taken out in accidents. but trying to climb his way forward right now. You see Liam Quinn in the background in that purple and white car climbing forward as well. Lap 60 of 150 here tonight. About 30 minutes left if we were to go green to the end. Blocker leads by 0.2 of a second over Kinsella. Simon Bryant sits third in his number 22. That's a Sadie Simsport car. And Henry Bennett in fourth in 007. Current points leader. If he has a good night tonight, he'll walk out keeping the points lead. As Brennan Lichtenberg was 19 back coming into the night. Of course, Ray Kingsbury absent this evening. So Lichtenberg might close in a little bit if he could get around Henry Bennett. As well as Adam Blocker if he could put some more distance between himself and that 007.
And speaking of which, Bennett to the inside of Simon Bryant.
And Joshua Chin lurking behind if something happens. There's actually a couple Sadie cars inside the top 10. There's Bradley Walters in the 56 really closing in. And the lead beginning to extend now for Blocker, 0.6 of a second. Tim Doyle in the 11 just behind this fight. Trying to chase down Texas winner David Adams in the 88. And Christopher Demerit in the 144 still recovering from that little slide. And that's all it takes to bring yourself out of contention. We have a caution. And this time it's Liam Quinn in the 44. He's up on his roll hoop on the front straightaway.
Yeah, and he's going to be done. That's really... Oh, what?
Whoa. Got it right.
Hey.
And either way, it'll be the end of the night for the 44. Well, at least he got it turned back right side up. Well, let's go back. Just got loose. Looked a lot like Andrew Wood. Tony Schowen might have just scraped through there. Could have gotten some damage. We'll take another look at that. And up and over on the hoop of his car. And I think Schowen escaped it. That was incredible reaction by the 31 here. Go back and take another look. Here's the 31's view.
He barely missed it.
Wow, that was incredible driving by the 31, just missing some more bad luck. So for the 44, Liam Quinn, that'll probably be the end of his night. Other drivers that are out of the race here early: Andrew Wood, Dakota DiCienzo, Jonathan Goke, and Michael Peters did not start this event. Jeff Drake is back out of the racetrack. He's 55 laps down in 29th, but trying to take advantage of all the cars that have dropped out of the race here early. So pit road going to be a busy place? No, it is not. A couple of drivers choose to come down towards the rear, but for the rest of the front runners at least, we're going to stay out on the racetrack. Finian, what's your call here on a short run like that? Do you think tires will matter that much?
Yeah, I think with a run like that, I don't think so. So, just come in. I guess if you're a guy towards the back, especially if you have any damage, might as well come and fix that during this type of caution. Maybe get some fresh tires if you're towards the back too. It wouldn't hurt at this point. But yeah, I think for the guys up in the front, it's not worth it, especially because they don't think a lot of guys are going to come in, so it's not worth that track position loss.
Logan Simmons in the 75 car, he sits 12th right now. Again, he started back in 30th place, so he's up about 17, 18 spots from where he started. It's been a good climb forward. Flynn Lazier in the number 4 car, the new Spark VR team member, started 20th tonight, up to 11th place, which will be his highest running position of the night. Again, this race sponsored by the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Kokomo, Indiana. We want to thank them for their support. They've been awesome to us so far. And as I said before a couple times tonight, if you just joined us, go ahead and grab yourself a nice cold Coke for the rest of this race, because it's been a good one so far, and we're closing in on the halfway mark here in just about 8 laps. So you're not going to have a whole lot of opportunity to down another Coca-Cola here unless you get one soon. So
okay, and also, so I looked up on IndyCar's website here.
Where the transponder is located?
Yeah, it's according to their thing, although I think this is a little outdated because I have a picture of a DW12, but I would imagine they really haven't changed it. So it says that there's a transponder 36 inches from the tip of the nose.
That's pretty close. That's about, if you take a look at the race car, that's about where the front wheels are on the race car. So maybe a little bit forward of, it's basically in the pedal box essentially. But so that to me would say that the 14 to Kinsella should have won the race off pit road, but I'm just not sure where iRacing has it located, or if there's redundant transponders and they have 1 or 2 in the race car, and maybe we'll get MYLAPS answer that for us. I'm sure they're very well aware of where they are located in the race car. But I'd have to imagine, based on the pit lane exit, where iRacing has it modeled, it's more likely in the center of the race car. I've just never really seen that come into play before, even in photo finishes. It's because you typically don't have a huge speed differential when crossing a line like that, so typically it doesn't come into play. But leaving pit road here at ISM Raceway, where the transponder is located, is certainly playing into why Blocker still has the top spot. Be interesting to see if that's the case in a Cup car.
Or if it's
IndyCar specific. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know how iRacing models that. It could be the center point of all the race cars. It could be the nose on some and the center of others. And I'd imagine there's some consistent marking. I would have thought it'd be the center point of the race car, or towards the center of gravity at some point. But I don't know. Not sure. About 7 laps to the halfway point of this race. Green flag back in the air as we can continue the Diet Coke 150 Memorial in honor of Kevin Kuhns.
Yeah, a great start for Adam Block. You get, again, some separation between Kinsella and Simon Bryant in third. Bennett's been struggling to get that third place back from the 22 car. We'll see if he can get something on this run as he's all over him.
Some battling deeper in the field. Flynn Lazier and Logan Simmons fighting for 11th spot. Got a little tight out of turn 2, and right in front of them, that's Tim Doyle and David Adams side by side. We're going to continue to watch this battle for what will eventually be 11th place. Lazier noses ahead up the road. Joshua Chin and Henry Bennett. That was close quarters contact there.
Yeah, Lichtenberg taking advantage of passing both Chin and Bennett. So Bennett going to drop all the way back to 6th place.
So not really the corner Bennett wanted to see. Of course, leading the standings by a pretty decent margin, so he should be pretty safe as long as he finishes inside the top 5 or top 10 here this evening. And look at this fight out of turn 2. Lazier and Simmons leading the way. And there's Levick, Andreas Eich, and some other cars following this, as well as Christopher DeMerit. But side by side into turn 4. And look at the run Simmons got on the outside of David Adams. He passes both cars in one corner. Couple red cars in the background at Eich and Schowen, 15th and 16th. But Lazier now all over David Adams. This will be a fight for 11th place, and DeMerit rim riding the wall in turns 3 and 4, trying to carry some speed. David Adams, whoa, real tight.
He's gonna get loose.
No, behind him, DeMerit spins on the front straightaway, crashes into the wall, and the 41 of McBride and others are going to be able to escape crash damage, but for Christopher DeMerit, the bad night has gotten worse.
Yeah, he's really been struggling with grip. He just broke loose by himself off of turn 4.
Spin, crash, and smash for the 144. He got loose earlier, lost all his track position, and since then he just hasn't been able to recover. And out of turn 4, just got loose. He was following, there's no air back there, Finney. I think we have to remember that. He was following a really tight battle for a position. He just didn't have any downforce on his race car. Gets back to the throttle and just spins out. Low pressure zone, and actually tagged the side. I think that was a 76 of Andreas Eich that he got into. Here's another look.
Honestly, I don't think it. Well, it might be that, but I think whatever setup he's running,
could be.
His car is just a little bit loose because this is the second time we've seen him loose in a corner.
Yeah, it certainly could be that as well. I mean, we've seen drivers run some really loose setups to try to make up time. We saw that a lot at Texas. There were several cars out there that could barely go straight. They were so loose, and Andreas Eich is going to come to pit lane and try to get that side pod fixed. Some damage to the floor of that car as well, so that car is going to be hurting. Pretty heavy hit there for the 76 of Eich. So pit stops. Andrew Kinsella hits pit lane here. Surprise, we see a split at the top of the field here. The blocker continues to lead. Lichtenberg is going to jump up to 2nd. Joshua Chin to 3rd. Henry Bennett's going to gain a few spots. Tim Doyle cracks the top 5 for the first time tonight. He started all the way back in 23rd and looking pretty solid right now. I'm not sure if he's quite got the pace to win this race, but certainly some strategy is playing into this, and that might be what ends up winning this the race if he can play this just right. So far so good for Tim Doyle. Well, I'd show you a MYLAPS commercial, Finian, but the cautions have been nice and short tonight, so really don't have time, but we will thank MYLAPS transponders and timing and scoring equipment for coming on board sponsoring the Indy Elite Series in 2019. They definitely offered a lot of support to this series and to Joe Branch, who organizes all this each and every week. And checking in on Joe Branch in the 28 car, he's actually currently scored 10th. After he started 21st tonight, he's been as high as 10th spot, which is where he is right now. High above the racetrack here, it's been a beautiful night for racing. Taking a look at our race conditions, 78 degrees on the racetrack. I have a feeling that The track temp would be cooler, except we got everyone running around here, heating it back up. So we might see the track temp actually kind of stay more constant than we thought, as the lights have come on here around ISM Raceway, and the pace car lights now casting a glow on the pavement as we work our way around this 1 mile oval.
Yeah, I imagine probably until we really get into the depth of night, I think we probably won't see it drop. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Actually, as you say, the now drops to 77.
Yes, it did. Well, it is cool. I mean, Phoenix, the Avondale, Arizona area typically is very, very hot. It's a dry heat, but this racetrack was recently repaved in 2012, so the pavement is still very dark in color, and so that means during the heat of the day, it really picks up a lot of temperature, and it makes it a very greasy and slippery surface for any car to drive on, let alone a high downforce Indy car. So, you know, I think in the night we typically see this track be a lot faster, but it's also retaining a lot of heat due to that recent iRacing update that really models a subsurface of the pavement, so the soil underneath the racetrack is actually retaining a lot of temperature as well, which is probably leading to some of that heat retention in the surface of the racetrack. Back straightaway and lining up again for a restart, and I love the nighttime here in iRacing. The contrast turns up on your monitors as we get ready to go back racing. We're past the halfway point here in the Diet Coke 150 Memorial here at ISM Raceway, and the lights are on the pace car, the lights are on the racetrack, and it's time to finish out this one. Blocker leads the way. He's got choice of the restart as soon as that pace car pulls off, and it has. Blocker waiting. And now he launches. Green flag back in the air. Henry Bennett popped out of line for a second. There's a bit of unrest towards the rear of the field. There's Joe Branch in 10th, popping out of line on John Downing in the 40.
He's going to go to the inside and get past him. Kinsella also trying to move up some spots after he can get a trip down onto pit lane. Will go to the inside of Rob Powers.
Yes, the leaders have 24 laps on their tires, and I do think this is going to matter, especially if we get a pretty long green flag run here. So we'll see how quickly this 14 can negotiate some traffic. How much will those tires make a difference? As he gets a great run on Joe Branch, turns hard left out of 2, and will pull alongside him on the back straight and move himself solidly inside the top 10.
Still going to make that pass. So yeah, we were talking earlier about how strategy can make or break the race here, and I think Kinsella trying to be on the better end of it so far is working pretty good for him.
Yeah, again, he's not going to beat the 74 just following him down pit lane with the way the pit exit has worked tonight, so he's got to get off strategy, and that's what he's tried to do. So I'm curious to see if this will work out for him in the long run here. There's still a long way to go. 70 laps to go at the line this time through, so there's still a lot of time for some strategies to play out here. Behind him, Joe Branch leads a pack of Simon Bryant, Rob Powers, Bradley Walters, and Riley Thompson, a 4-car battle for 11th place. Fastest laps tonight, Finney. Let's take a look. 19.1 for Adam Blocker. That is significantly faster than most of the field, with the exception of Andrew Kinsella, who does have the fastest lap so far tonight with a 19.073. That is the quickest we've seen. And he moves past John Downing's going to crash the back. It's Brandon Trost again in turn 2. This time a lot harder, and that's going to be the end of the race for him. Slides down off the banking. Been a tough season for Trost.
Looks like he had some contact with Flynn Lazier down in turn 2.
There's a look. They're on the front straightaway, and that's Flynn Lazier and that kind of reddish white Spark VR machine to get down to turn 1. And whoop, I think Lazier just slid up the racetrack just a touch. Big impact for the 66. He's lucky he didn't get turned over there, but unfortunately, luck has not really been in the 66's vocabulary. He's had a lot of speed this year, but really no luck to go with it. Yeah, I mean, you could probably argue the 66 could have left more room, but just 2 cars going for 1 spot, I don't really think you can put the blame on either one of them there. It's tricky. It's hard to maintain the bottom of the racetrack in an Indy car. And pit lane, an interesting place.
Yeah, a lot of guys faking and guys deciding last second. Henry Bennett decided last second to pit. Tim Doyle and Showen decided not to pit last second. Almost hit the barrels coming out. It was such a big decision.
So to me, this is great for Kinsella. I think this is spectacular because now the 74 is not going to have a tire advantage on the 14. It's going to be a 2 or 3 lap difference. It's not going to work out for the 74 here. I think what this really did is give Kinsella track position over the 74. And at some point, they'll probably get back on equal strategies, which means the 14 car, as long as they don't pit together again, I think he's going to have the commanding lead of this race if he can get by the drivers in front of him.
Yeah, he's going to get buried down in the field, Blocker is, so we'll see where he comes out. He's going to obviously lead off pit road. Henry Bennett, Logan Simmons, John Downing, Joe Branch.
Yeah, I don't like this.
They're going to be pretty far back in the pack.
I don't like this for the 74 because he's going to be back in 14th place in the midst of basically no aero on that car at all. So this puts him in a high-risk situation. He has not been back here yet. So I don't know if he knows if his setup will work in traffic yet. He's been up front most of the night. He started third, didn't fall below that until now. So I'm really curious if this 74 car will have any speed back here in traffic. You better hope he does, because otherwise he's going to be in trouble. And 14th place is the lowest he's been all night long. Take a look at our race information. Only 2 lead changes. Up at the front, it's going to be 3 here shortly as Lichtenberg crosses the line. 20 caution laps. There are 85 laps so far. 5 cautions slowing the progress of the night. Working lap 85 of 150. Lichtenberg leads the way, Finney, and we know Brendan Lichtenberg is talented. I believe he's got a race win under his belt so far. He's also sitting third in the standings. And it was Gateway, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so he's trying to make that win number 2. And also a bunch of guys in behind are trying to get their first win of the season. Guys like Doyle, Shaw, and Kinsella, and I believe Chin as well.
Yep. Kinsella, again, will be restarting 5th. I like this call. I like what the 14 did. I was a little skeptical earlier on the restart, but let's take a look at our stint information. The 3 leaders have 31 laps on their tires. Tony Shawan has 19 on his. Kinsella and pretty much everyone back to 13th place. Andreas Eich have 10 laps. And from Blocker in 14th on back, they are all just recently pitted. 1 lap to green, lights are off on the pace car. The MYLAPS Indy Elite Series, round number 5. Almost halfway through the season, and the points really haven't been stable. Kingsbury dropped last week after a pretty poor run at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. He is absent here this week, so point structure going to constantly be shifting as we make our way towards the end of the season, but I'm liking how Lichtenberg is running. He's been pretty consistent. For other drivers like Henry Bennett, he's also been consistent, but Bennett is also alongside Blocker in the strategy, buried down in 15th. I'm nervous for the restart here, and if they can avoid any collisions or incidents.
Yeah, we've been on a bit of a stretch of yellow flags recently, so you never know what might happen here as we go into further into the night, as Lichtenberg leads them back to green.
Green flag back in the air, and you mentioned we've been in a string of cautions. Thankfully, they've been pretty much single or 2-car incidents. We haven't seen any big accidents yet, which certainly we don't want to see, but now battle for second. Chin and Doyle side by side in their purple IR18s, and Tony Shawan up the racetrack behind him, trying to get around both.
Yeah, Doyle got pinched to the inside. Chow going to take advantage of that. Got a huge head of steam now towards Chin as he moves past Doyle. Puts Tim Doyle back and forth. Here comes Kinsella working the outside with his fresh tires.
Kinsella flying right now. He's got a big advantage on these front 3 and trying to use it while he can. So he moves his way up into 4th. Here comes Bradley Walters in one of the Sadie cars. And he's got a teammate right behind him in 7th place. That's Simon Bryant behind. Flynn Lazier pops out of line on another Sadie car. That's David Adams in the 88, Texas winner from a few weeks ago. And Lazier down on his inside on the back straightaway. And right behind them is Frank Levitt in 4th, a sparked VR machine. Sitting 11th right now, trying to dive to the inside. Can't do it yet.
Battle for 3rd. Kinsella working to the inside of Joshua Chin as they go down to turn 1. Kinsella just flying through these guys up ahead of him.
I don't know how much of a battle this is going to be with the tire difference between these two. The 93 holding on strong, though, in the outside lane as we're going to hit 60 laps to go this time through. Lichtenberg leads the way by half a second over Shawan, but for 3rd, Joshua Chin hangs on. Kinsella has to settle for 4th for now.
Yeah, Kinsella's got to be a little bit smart with this. Doesn't want to burn up his tires being in behind Chin, so he's got to really just try to plan this out, get a run on the straightaway, and then make the move into the corner. Because he's still got the advantage over the 3 cars ahead of him.
Tim Doyle, Simon Bryant fighting for 6th place, and right behind Riley Thompson. How about this driver in the 58 car? We haven't really talked about him a whole lot tonight. He started 13th. He's dropped kind of to the midfield, but now he's running 8th. And we have not really mentioned him because he's pretty much had an uninteresting night. Been kind of mired in the mid-pack, but now climbing up inside the top 10 here with less than 60 laps to go. I'm liking the direction of this 58. He struggled a few weeks back, but he's got this 58 in the right direction.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to move his way forward. Also trying to get his first top 5 of the season.
Adam Blocker fighting for 10th place. Flynn Lazier on the outside, Blocker on the inside. And I'm not quite sure this 74 strategy is going to work out. If this race were to go green to the end, he's going to need a caution to kind of equalize them out. But he gave up what was the leading strategy, and he's going to have to hope that this one puts him back in the lead later this race. Henry Bennett in 13th. Similar story here, was up towards the front, came down pit road on the most recent pit sequence, and has kind of taken himself out of the top spot. You see David Adams go really wide up the road, and it looks like a couple drivers will take advantage of that, including Adam Blocker, and he slots himself in between Lazier and Adams.
Yeah, Blocker trying to get to the outside of Lazier, but Lazier has been persistent in not letting Blocker get that line. Blocker's been trying to make that pass to the inside of work, but we've seen many guys have struggled with that.
Through turns 3 and 4, Lichtenberg continues to lead by half a second over Tony Schauen. Other battles throughout the field. We're going to jump back 3 wide down into turn 1. Levick in the middle, Bennett on the bottom, and that was the 88 of David Adams on the outside. He gave that spot away. Niall McBride now in the 41, fighting with Logan Simmons for a top 15 spot.
Yeah, it's always when it gets really hairy going 3 wide into a corner with these cars. Got to hope everyone's giving each other space.
And whoa, Simmons and John Downing, or excuse me, that was David Adams in the 88. They got close together down off of turn 4. Here comes John Downing. Another Sadie machine. There's about 40 of those cars out there, I think. On the back straightaway, entering turn 3. And it looks like Simmons is going to try to set sail on these 2 cars. Downing and Adams trading spots. Up the road, Bennett. And Frank Levick, the 4th, trading spots. Bennett tries to cross over on the exit of 2. He will. And side pod to side pod on the back straight. Who's going to win out in turn 3?
Yeah, if Bennett can make a dive to the inside. Depends on how Levick can handle on the outside lane. He's going to keep a wing just there on the outside and get the run off the corner.
Now off into turn 1. This is a very different corner. It's hard to maintain the bottom lane. Look at the run that the 77 gets in the outside lane. That Spark VR car flying around the 007 on the back straight now. Again, got to stay above that yellow line. They get to turn 3, and Bennett just drives in so deep into turn 3, trying to carry momentum, and he will. He's not quite clear of the 77. They continue to race side by side again.
Whoa, it gets a little bit, Bennett actually gets a little bit sideways, breaking down into turn 1. And Levick's still side by side. These guys are not giving up an inch.
No, they've been side by side for 2 laps. It's going to be 3 when they cross the line here. 50 laps to go for leader Brennan Lichtenberg behind them. Finally, Bennett gets through, and now the 77 crosses him over to the inside down for turn 1. An incredible battle for the 11th spot.
He's going to wash up the hill, though. Bennett's got the fresher tires, remember, and he's going to power on the outside. Bennett's going to hold the spot for 11th.
So that pass has finally been completed.
And leaders have cut some lap traffic passing through Ryan Norton.
Yeah, Ryan Norton's night not going great in the 22nd spot, 3 laps down, but Tony Schauen, for a couple laps, he was actually closing in on Lichtenberg, but now the lead is extended out to 1.3 seconds. For 3rd place, though, Kinsella is beginning to close in on Joshua Chin. Last time through was 0.06 of a second quicker. This time through was a touch slower, but still in a positive direction for the 14. But Chin beginning to close in on Schauen as well.
Yeah, they're all 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all closing in on each other here. Lichtenberg, though, driving off into the sunset.
And all by himself, 1.7 seconds up the road. Schauen, a little bit defensive out of turn 4, trying to keep the 93 airless. And as we continue to tick off laps here.
I saw Kinsella, he was pushing so hard through turns 1 and 2, clipped the apron, got a little bit sideways.
And he's watching these 2 battle up ahead. So let's take a look at the stint information again. Lichtenberg has 51 laps on his tires. Schauen has 39, Chin has 51, and Kinsella has 30. So I think there is a certain point when the tires drop off to where they're not really that much better. They're certainly better after a restart, but 5-10 laps into a run, they don't seem to be a huge advantage for the 14.
Yeah, and we'll see, though. I'm curious if he's just being kind of patient here, trying to wait for the guys up ahead to fall off. So that could be what he has in store. Because I notice he's stayed quite a bit ways back from Chin to stay out of that aero wash thing to keep his tires in a better state for later.
Absolutely. A quick check-in on the drivers that are out and done for the night. Brandon Trost in 23rd, Christopher Demerit 24th, Liam Quinn, Andrew Wood, Dakota DiCienzo, Jeff Drake, and Jonathan Goke all out of the race. Michael Peters in the 3 did not start this event. He is 107 laps down. So Lichtenberg's lead continuing to extend, and maybe the short ovals are what the 10 really excels at. Remember, he won at Gateway, and I guess you could call that a short oval. It's a bit more leaning towards it.
They run the same. They run the same aero package there.
Yep. So Lichtenberg in the 10 seems like he's really got this package figured out and is really setting sail. And I know at Gateway it wasn't a total blowout, but this is a blowout right now. He's a 10th quicker than everybody else.
And I'm sure the guys behind him kind of hope to have a caution, kind of get everyone back on even terms. But for now, Lichtenberg is driving away from Schauen and company.
Tim Doyle in 6th place, Simon Bryan in 7th. That's the 11 and the 22 cars. 2.5 tenths between them. And we're getting pretty close to the end of this race. 13 minutes worth of racing left if they were to stay green all the way to the end, which for Lichtenberg, I think he hopes that stays that way. But Adam Blocker stuck in 10th. That is how little he's been able to gain. And again, this is not a great strategy. Whoa, dives to the inside of Flynn Lazier. That got a little dicey.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit sick of seeing back wing of Flynn Lazier because he's been stuck in behind him this entire run, has not been able to get on by for the last 20 laps.
Yeah, he's led the most laps tonight, 64. I think the other driver that's led a bunch is Lichtenberg with 28. But Blocker and Lazier continue to fight. Ooh, a little bit dicey there on the exit of turn 2, but he will complete the pass.
Finally clears him.
Yeah, but this fight isn't over, and he really chopped off the nose of the 4 car there. Here comes Henry Bennett trying to take advantage of it as well. But for Blocker, I think he was expecting there to be some more cautions in this race, and I just don't see how that strategy would have... I mean, you needed to come to pit road again, for sure, but I just don't know if that was the time to do it. And he was leading this race. He was in control of it, and he just chose to come down pit lane and hasn't worked out. So we'll see if this race will kind of come back his direction for now. But Joshua Chin and Kinsella now fighting for 3rd.
I think Kinsella's pick now is the time to strike, going to the inside of Chin, hoping that Chin can't really defend on that outside lane with the older tires, and Chin's going to give it to him.
Yeah, he's...
and actually Schowen down on pit road.
So Tony Schowen, again, the leaders definitely need to come down to pit lane. I think actually almost everybody needs to come down to pit lane at least one more time. That may or may not be accurate. But Schowen
I think you said that Schowen had 30 laps on his tires last time we checked.
Schowen had, I think, well, Lichtenberg has 60 laps on his, so he almost certainly is not good to the end with about 35 laps to go. So I'm not really sure what the strategy is for the drivers that only have 40 laps on their tires like most of the field does, but Adam Blocker only has 30 on his. So can you go 80 laps? Oh, caution! Oh, this is a big change in some strategy, and it's the 58 of Riley Thompson, and everything I just said, we can cancel that because it's not going to matter.
No.
And did this save Tony Schowen? No, he's a lap down, Finian, so...
I was going to say, it didn't save him. It kind of ruined his...
Well, if he hadn't gone a lap down, he could have gotten the lead away from all this, but that's not going to be the case because he was put a lap down before the caution came out. 58 out of turn 4. Got loose, spun out. That stings for Schowen. More bad luck. And just got away from the 58. And Riley's had some loose setups in the past. He typically doesn't run a whole lot of downforce, as we saw at Texas a few weeks back. But now has this car in the right direction, but it's going to need a wing replacement for sure at the very least. All right, so strategy man, what's your call here? Four Firestones and fuel? Do you short fuel the car at all? What's your plan here to get to the end of the race in the quickest way possible?
Yeah, honestly, I would just fuel it up all the way. I don't think you want to really play any games. I don't think will hurt too much if you add a little bit of extra fuel or not.
The entire field hits pit lane, with the exception of... Is Lichtenberg still out of the racetrack? Oh,
I think he might have.
Did he come to pit lane before?
Yeah, I think he came in right as the caution was coming out.
He did, and he actually managed to stay on the lead lap. So this is going to be great for Lichtenberg, and not so great for a whole lot of other drivers. Tim Doyle might have... Yeah, Tim Doyle, same thing for him. Although Tony Schowen is actually shown on the lead lap at the moment. I'm not really sure how this... I'm gonna hesitate talking about the situation until I see everyone lined back up, because I'm not really sure where the caution flew for a lot of these drivers and where they all were on the racetrack at the time of caution. So Dan Ench leads the way here in the 52 car, although he's 33 laps on his tires. Will he try to stay out? Is he leading a lap? I'm not really sure what the strategy is here for this Spark VR car. I haven't talked about Dan Ench a whole lot this season, but one of the Spark VR team members, and that's a bright green vehicle, very easy to spot. Andrew Kinsella is going to be second right now, and he is going to be leading this race, Finian.
Yeah, it's amazing how it kind of just all plays out in the end.
Well, he will be leading this race if the 52 pulls off the racetrack, but as of now...
I would imagine that Inch would be. Just purely on the fact that tires. When was the last time he pit?
33 laps ago.
Yeah, I would imagine he would want to come down on pit road, especially while a couple of guys are kind of stuck a lap down.
So,
or stuck in behind the pace car.
We've had our fair share of drama tonight. A couple of cars involved in accidents. Trost, Demerit, Quinn, Wood, DiCienzo, Jeff Drake, Jonathan Goke, Riley Thompson. It looks like Riley Thompson may retire from this race. But there's certainly been a fair share of drama. Of course, ISM Raceway always brings some level of drama, whether it be in stock cars or in open-wheel cars. But don't forget, next week we head to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio for some more right and left action. And this series is pretty evenly split between road and oval, which means that...
not fitting.
Oh, yeah, okay, so Ench is going to stay out here. But as I was saying, pretty even split between road courses and ovals for this season, which means that there's really not one driver, I think, that is dominant at both. I mean, maybe you could argue that the 007 has been the best performing car all around this season. I don't think anyone would argue, considering he walked into tonight leading the points. But we'll see how they do on a very different style of road course next week at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. This race is brought to you by the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series, as well as the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Kokomo, Indiana. And they've been very active, as I said earlier in the race. They've been super active with us, with the Indy Elite Series in general. They're actually hanging out in the YouTube chat, so always a pleasure to be hanging out, talking to those guys. Such great people out there working for them, and we want to thank them for their support of the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series, as well as MYLAPS for coming on board sponsoring this event, the Diet Coke 150 Memorial in honor of Kevin Kuhns. Restart coming up. Dan Ench on old tires in front of the field. He's going to pull over to the left, and it's going to let Andrew Kinsella to the outside and battle off into turn one, side by side for the lead here with less than 30 to go.
And Kinsella hesitated, and Joshua
Rewind!
Take advantage of that pull to the inside,
Caution.
But caution is out.
Whoa, how did that shake things out? Bradley Walters in the Sadie car in the background. He spun out at turn number 2, and they were 3 wide for the lead for a moment, and then now the caution comes out, so how are they going to sort them? Joshua Chin might have been the one to luck out of all that.
Yeah, Chin was the leader, and Kinsella in second, Inch back in third.
So it was Walters and it was Adam Blocker in the 74 to his inside. Was there a contact or the 56? Oh, just all by himself. Spun out. Uncharacteristic mistake for the 56. We'll ride on board here. So you got the car under power, all the weights shifted to the rear. And just a slight contact with the wall to tear off that front wing. You should be able to repair that car relatively easily. All right, so Joshua Chin pulls the lead away here, Finian, and unfortunately for Andrew Kinsella, these guys are on the same strategy, so that means that Joshua Chin is not going to pull over like Dan Ench did for the restart.
Yeah, I'm sure Kinsella not too happy with Inch because he easily could have had the lead there. He tried to take it away, but had to wait for the green flag to make a pass an inch before the line. Couldn't do that, and then was a little bit hesitant as to the Inch's ability to get through the turn, and with that hesitation, Chin took easy advantage of the situation, stole the lead away from Kinsella. So yeah, Kinsella pretty much back at square one where he's been pretty much all race. It's been hard for him to get the lead because there's always been someone else.
So I'm just pausing at the moment of caution here to take a look at how this lead was cycled out. So yes, it was Chin very clearly in front. I was just curious to see if that transponder thing was going to come into effect again. But here's a look at the restart here as they launched. And of course the Dan Ench pulled off to the left, and I thought that was going to give Kinsella the run here. It was really a defensive move because they got to turn one and Ench stayed in the throttle and Kinsella had nowhere to go. And here comes Joshua Chin to the inside, 3 wide for the lead, and took the lead away as the caution flew. So great move by the 93.
Yeah, I was going to say that might have won in the race here. We don't have too much time. We're under 30 laps to go, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here.
Yeah, here's another look from on board the 93. And just turns left here as the 14 gets shuffled up the racetrack in an incredible move to the inside. And woohoo! Dan Ench did a good job leaving the 93 some racing room so he didn't have to go to the apron.
Simon Bryant's trying to burn some fuel on his car.
And yeah, that's what he's doing, trying to lighten up the load here, Finney. Maybe he took more fuel than he needs. We only have about 25 laps to go when we get the restart here, so trying to burn something off. I think Adam Blocker doing the same. Quite a peculiar strategy, but must be effective if they're doing it.
Well, it's definitely effective. The only thing you got to worry about is making sure you don't burn, or not burn, make sure you don't blow your engine. It's only the only worry you got to have with that.
So our caution out, again, this is our 7th caution of the night. We've had 27 laps of yellow. We've had 5 lead changes. It certainly got more contested up at the front the longer we go here, and we should get our 1 to green this time through. We're right on board the 93 of Joshua Chin as we come to the start-finish line. Will those lights shut off? And they will this time. So that's going to leave us with 26 laps of racing to the end. Finian, that's about 8 minutes left. Driver to pick to win this race. I mean, I got my money on either Kinsella or Chin, but is anybody from 3rd or 4th? Adam Blocker's up in 4th place. He's gotten some track position back.
Yeah.
What's your call?
He's got a pretty fast car underneath him. I'm going to say, I think 74's got this. He got pretty lucky with the way the last caution played out. Restarted in 6th, was able to get up into 4th now for this restart. So if he can navigate past Bryant and Kinsella, I think he might have something for Chin here at the end.
Yeah, so looking at their last pit stop, it was all 7 laps ago for the top 15 with the exception of Lichtenberg, who was 9 laps ago. So everyone is on even Steven tires and fuel here. Everyone coming with 26 laps ago. Chin leads the way after stealing the lead on the previous restart. Who wins the Diet Coke 150 Memorial at ISM Raceway? Chin, Kinsella, Bryant, Blocker, Bennett. Top 5. Green flag back in the air. Chin launches, trying to run away from Kinsella.
And a great start for Joshua Chin. Everyone else just trying to chase
Caution
him immediately.
immediately.
No, caution's going to come out.
And this time for David Adams, the Sadie 88. That's fun to say. Out of turn 4.
Oh, just interesting.
And here's a look. And accelerating in the corner, Finney, and I wonder if maybe shifting was what threw him off the...
It was shifting. It was the transition from 1st to 2nd. Because I see why. Because he was pegging the rev. He's pegging the rev limiter.
Yeah. So this is an interesting thing because a lot of times, even in high performance transmissions like this, when you shift gears for a split second during the gear change, you actually slow down very slightly. And so when he pings off a limiter, it limits the car, and it's got the tires and the gear, all the gearing and everything is all messed up. He goes to 2nd gear, and it just caused such a vibration in the drivetrain that it spun out the rear wheels. And a spin for the 88. That is an embarrassing way to spin out, but it happens to everybody. And we'll try this again.
Yeah, fortunately, too, he's got some pretty decent damage to that car. He's got the steering turned a little bit to the left, so that's some damage to the handling after nailing the right rear.
Okay, he's going to come on down to the pit lane and fix that. That's Dan Ensch in the 52. He's going to abandon that strategy up towards the front and get on the strategy with everybody else. So now we'll have just under, about 20 laps to go when we get the green next time.
And I think Joshua Chin's loving this.
Oh, for sure.
Adam Blocker back on the limiter.
The more laps, the more heat cycles you get on the tires, the less of an advantage newer tires would be. So I don't think anybody coming down to pit lane would really gain anything right now. But again, everyone inside the top 15, with the exception of Lichtenberg, is all on pretty much equal tire strategy right now. So Chin, like you said, he's loving this because he doesn't have to do anything. He's pacing behind the pace car, ticking off laps. It's less time for somebody to figure out how to beat him. And we know how tricky it is to beat the leader on a restart when he's got choice of when to go. So Chin loves this yellow flag, and he's going to want to keep pacing under yellow and keep hoping the guys behind keep getting in accidents. So caution out again for the 8th time today. And this time it will be a 20 lap to go run to the finish. If you're watching Sim TV, what's coming up next on our network is just after the conclusion of the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series Round 5 from ISM Raceway. We head over to Talladega in Talladega, Alabama for some Yinzer Graphics Unreal Tour NASCAR truck action. That'll be at 9:40, which is in just over an hour, for the continuation of the Yinzer Graphics Unreal Tour playoff. So if you're interested in watching some playoff series racing, you're going to watch the Yinzer Graphics Unreal Tour at Talladega at 9:40 p.m. right here on Sim TV.
And what's crazy, too, about that is the fact that these guys are going as fast as they go into Talladega into the corners here. It's just insane to think, how fast these cars go.
This track, if you unwound it and tacked on 2 more tracks, it would just barely be longer than Talladega Superspeedway, which is 2.66 miles. This racetrack, 1 mile around. Now they go over twice the size. These guys are running as fast as those trucks. That's a good comparison there, Finian. So lights should shut off the pace car this time through. They do. And Chin is going to line up right behind that pace car and protect that outside lane for the restart. Predictions now, Finian. Who you got winning this race? You got one choice.
I'm going to, I think Kinsella's got something. I know I'm jumping all over the board here, but I think with this caution, I don't think Blocker's going to have enough time to get past some of the traffic. So I think Kinsella's sitting in second. I think he's in a prime spot.
I say Joshua Chin's got this. I think track position's going to matter the most. I think we're going to see some more tangling at the rear of the field with the desperation mounting. And I think Joshua Chin is going to lead us to the end of this race. He's got the track position. I think that's going to matter for the restarts. I wouldn't be surprised if Kinsella were to win it, but I got my hope in that purple and white number 93. Pace car is going to peel off, maybe for the final time tonight. And Joshua Chin is going to lead the way. 21 laps to go. Green flag back in the air here at ISM Raceway, and Chin got a solid restart. Can Kinsella close the gap?
Yeah, racing off down towards turn number 1 and 2. Adam Blocker getting a run on Simon Bryant. Bryant trying to defend on the outside. Here comes Blocker up the inside for 3rd place.
Blocker trying to get the track position back. He lost the lead on strategy, trying to gain it back the hard way, but Bryant's not going to pull over in that Sadie machine. And Blocker's going to have to fight for this hard. A deep dive into turn 1. He's going to clear. Oh, there was some smoke. I think that was just internet issues there, so we're all good. I thought that someone wiped out. But Kinsella in second. He's got Blocker right behind. And behind them, Henry Bennett gets on through Simon Bryant, but not quite. Bryant's going to hang on the outside.
Yeah, Bryant's going to hang on. Flynn was here pretty far back in 6th place, so the top 5 is pretty much between them for now.
Joshua Chin, half a second out front. Can he hold on to the lead for 19 more laps and get himself his first one of the season? Kinsella trying to close in from behind. We'll see how much... Oh, no, he's in the wall!
Oh, Joshua Chin in the
crashes
wall.
in turn 4, and that's going to take him out of the race. No!
Oh, and just slipped out of turn 4.
And a caution for Rob Powers on the front straightaway. Oh, my gosh. I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah, and that's Chin's race done.
That is so frustrating for Joshua Chin. And I just can't believe that he just crashed out of turn 4 like that. I mean, what a change of events.
It seems turn 4 has really become the trouble spot here as the night settled in.
I mean, he just crashed, Vinny. He just got loose and just spun out into the wall.
Same thing happened to the 47 of Rob Powers that brought out the caution. Spun off in turn number 4.
I was convinced that there's oil down there.
I think what it is, I think a lot of these guys set up their cars for the beginning of this race in the daytime, and now at night, I guess the more grip to the corner, they're carrying much more speed, and I guess their setups are set up for it, and it's causing a lot of these guys to break loose in those corners. So that crash of Joshua Chin, which didn't bring out the caution, but will pretty much take Chin out of this, will give the lead back to Kinsella, and Adam Blocker back in second. So these guys resuming from where they left off earlier in the night.
And here's a look at the issue with Rob Powers. Same sort of situation. Shifts, it wasn't quite shifted into 6th gear and just spun out at turn 4 and hit the inside safer barrier and spun out. That was what triggered the yellow. I just can't believe that. I mean, that's got to hurt so bad for Joshua Chin to be leading this race in position to win, and just to crash like that hurts.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, I think the bigger kicker is the fact that if he didn't crash right there and continued on, Powers would have probably still ended up crashing. You know, obviously you can't really entirely assume that, but let's say that he does. Chin would have had the lead here and would have had to only hold off Kinsella for probably 10 laps.
That hurts.
Which would have been fairly easy to do. So, yeah, I think Chin's going to be walking through his mind with that. He easily could have had the win here.
All right, well, so
finish back
now that Joshua Chin is not leading, look who's leading now. Andrew Kinsella in the 14, but look who is behind him, Finian. Adam Blocker finally up back on the front. So what can he do here?
It's going to be kind of tough to tell. I don't know how good Blocker's car is in behind Kinsella, because we've seen for the most part when these two were together, Blocker was the one in front, Kinsella was one chasing. So I'm not entirely sure, and from the looks of it, Blocker's car isn't the best in traffic, but you know, we'll see if he's hiding anything, maybe adjusting that weight jacker to try to get something or making some other adjustments in the car here for this final run.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to make an adjustment. I don't think, I mean, it's not easy to make a pass here, Finian, but you can't bet on Kinsella wiping out either. I mean, that was lucky for Kinsella and Blocker, not so much for the 93, but Blocker's going to have to go up there and beat him. I don't think Kinsella... he hasn't made a whole lot of mistakes tonight, so I can't really bet on him making another one, or one to begin with. So this 74's got a tough hill to climb. And look at the 14 of Kinsella did a spectacular job getting himself out of a situation earlier where he couldn't beat the 74, because the pit road situation, the way the pit boxes were lined up, the 14 was never going to beat the 74 off a pit lane. So he took the initiative and switched up his strategy to beat the 74, and it worked. But he's got to hang on. 13 laps going to be all we have left to race here. So Kinsella's got some work to do, but if he wins this race, that was the winning strategy, to get off strategy from the 74. That's what will win him this race.
Yeah, well, whatever they do, they don't do something to take them out, because currently both the teammates are running 1 and 2 for Adrenaline Motorsports.
Certainly
So
good
can't
for them.
imagine they'll do anything too crazy, but you never know.
Again, walking into the night, in terms of the points, Andrew Kinsella was tied for 10th walking into this evening with Michele Constantini. 72 points back from the lead, so he's got to dig himself out of a pretty deep points hole, especially with the point leader Henry Bennett sitting in 4th. So, still some drivers burning up as much fuel as they can to make their cars lighter. They got 13 laps to contest the end of the Diet Coke 150 Memorial at ISM Raceway. Kinsella, Blocker, Bryant, Bennett, Lazier, your top 5. And McBride, Downing, Levick, 4th. Logan Simmons, Joe Branch, your top 10. 13 laps to conclude MYLAPS Indy Elite Series round number 5. Can Kinsella hang on in front of the driver who led the most laps tonight, Adam Blocker? Green flag back in the air. Look at the 4th. Lynn Lazier all over Henry Bennett for 4th place, but a good launch for the 14.
Yeah, no, they're trying to make the pass on Bennett. Couldn't get it done, but the eyes go up to the front of the field. Can't Blocker chase down Kinsella with just over 10 laps to go.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough task for Blocker to do. And again, they're on equal tires now. There's no advantage for anybody up here. It's all going to come down to skill. Look at the run the 74 got on the front straightaway. Right on the bumper. Right on the rear wing, rather, of the 14 as they make their way down to turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's all over him. He's got a really good draft off of Kinsella. He's getting a run on him towards turn 3. Can he go? He looks to the outside here, trying to get some clean air to his nose.
He did. He's going to get another good run here out of turn 4. Not quite. Needs the slipstream to help him out now to get him back close again. 11 laps to go for Kinsella. Can he hang on? Blocker, a bit of a bobble down in turn 1. Trying to close the gap. Do we stay green to the end, or do we have more trouble? There's a big gaggle behind him. Back for about 10th place, Logan Simmons, Joe Branch, Tim Doyle, and more, all locked in an incredible battle back here for about the 10th spot. Look at this fight out of turn 4.
Yeah, fantastic stuff going on here. It's all kicking off towards the end of the race.
And Joe Branch restarted in 10th, dropping a couple spots to 11th and maybe even 12th. Lichtenberg, remember, he got kind of shuffled back on strategy when he came to pit road right before a caution flag. Buried down the order for now, but Blocker right behind Kinsella. 10 laps to go, and we're actually making 9 laps to go, and Blocker's only a 10th back.
Yeah, really trying to get a run on him. He really needs to plan this out. If he can get a nice run down the straightaway, he can force the car into the corner. But he's been getting such a big wash off of Kinsella. And Kinsella, I think, also, too, just trying to purposely get in front of Blocker to the corner, make him wash off the track.
We hit the apron down in 1 and 2. He's better down there than the 14 car, but he loses all of his time in turns 3 and 4. That's where Kinsella is better. Simmons in the background. He's in the wall out of turn 2. Big impact for the 75. He stayed green as the 75 will get it collected. But for the top spot, here comes Blocker right on the rear wing. Caution out.
Oh, no, caution is out.
Tony Schowen in the 31, wrecked in turn 3. 7 laps to go.
We might get the restart here.
We should. We definitely should. The cautions here are really short. What happened to the 31? He was
some netcode
outside of Lichtenberg here, and was there some naughty? Yeah, definitely. There's some netcode for sure. Ooh, a nasty impact.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You hate to see that, obviously, when an incident where two guys wouldn't have hit each other. A little bit of netcode, unfortunately, going to take out Tony Schowen. Was running at 12th at the time.
Yeah, so while that was all happening up the road, Blocker almost had the lead on Kinsella. He got a great run through 3 and 4, had a run on the front straight, but didn't have any time to do anything with it.
Yeah, I think, honestly, that might be all she wrote here. I don't think even if these guys do get a restart, it's going to be maybe 2 laps or even just 1 lap to go. So I don't think it's going to be enough for really Blocker to build up anything.
No, that's really going to put a damper on Blocker's chances to win this race. Again, it all goes back to the strategy call for the 14 to leapfrog the 74 and at least get off strategy so they weren't head-to-head in the pits. It has worked out for Kinsella, not so much for Blocker. Unfortunately, Blocker can't do much blocking to be behind Kinsella for the restart. It'll be about 2 or 3 laps to go. Not going to have a whole lot of time left to contest this one.
Yeah, we definitely saw as the run progressed, Blocker was starting to get something on Kinsella, was building up a run, but yeah, it's just that caution came out at probably the worst time for the 74, just as he was about to set up a pass.
So 146 laps so far tonight. 40 of them have been under caution, 10 yellows tonight, 6 lead changes at the front of the field. Kinsella, the latest of our multiple leaders this evening. And Blocker sits right behind. Now, talk to me about the challenges of restarting IndyCar style, Finney, in single file. Why is it so much more difficult to build a run than it is on a double file restart?
Yeah, really, the problem is the fact that, with everyone being single file, especially if you're further in the back, too, you got to wait for the guy ahead of you to go. So by the time the leader is already racing up to turn one, you might not even be accelerating just about yet. So, but even, too, if you're starting in the front of the field, when you're waiting for everyone to go single file, you're not really building up or getting any draft because these cars only really produce a huge weight behind them once they're up to speed, and by the time you get up to speed, they're already on the backstretch. So it's really tough getting through these starts, and I think that's why some drivers prefer the double file restarts because it keeps everyone a lot closer together. But I think for the most part, people like the single file restarts because it makes sure that people don't get into each other.
Yeah, so really the reason why it's so difficult on top of that, Finian, is that if you're second place, not only is it difficult to beat the leader to the throttle, you can't do it. That's jumped restart, so you cannot get a launch ahead of the leader. The leader must go first, and so Kinsella already has. I mean, the human reaction time typically is 2.5 to 4/10 of a second. That's a lot of time to be missing the driver ahead of you. So it's all about anticipation, and if you get it wrong, you could end up with a penalty. So blocker has to be careful, but being careful and being aggressive are really mutually exclusive there. So,
yeah, and that's really just a restart thing in general. It's almost always the second place is pretty much always the worst position to start from.
Yeah, in a double file restart, you're all right being third because at least you can pick up a spot when the second place guy doesn't go. But unfortunately for single file restarts, everyone has to react to the driver in front of them, and you typically don't see a lot of restart incidents other than some accordion effect accidents. But it does spread the field out a little bit more, for better or for worse. For Kinsella, that's great. For Blocker, not so much. And Henry Bennett sitting third here, so we'll see if he has any say in at least maybe a top 2 finish instead of just a podium.
Yeah, 2 laps to go here as the lights go out on the pace car here. This will be the final restart of the race, regardless of what happens.
All right, Finian. Kinsella leads the way. Blocker's led the most laps tonight, 64. He has not led since the pit stop choice earlier in the race.
If he wants to win this race, he's got to get the restart of his life right now, which is going to be a very tall order, but, I've seen crazy things happen before.
Field tight. 2 laps to go. 2 miles to decide the winner of round 5 of the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series. Kinsella launches, and he's gone. Blocker tries to chase him down, but only 2 miles left. It's going to be tricky for Blocker to get there.
He's got to make sure he's just focusing on this lap, just building up the run on Kinsella to give him anything by the white flag.
Behind him, Frank Levick IV and Joe Branch and some others. Lichtenberg involved in a big fight. Whoa, Lichtenberg way down, crash behind him. Levick goes in the wall, caution out, race over. Kinsella is going to be the one going to victory lane tonight, but carnage in the middle of the field is going to end the night for Frank Levick IV on the final lap. But for Kinsella, all he had to do was nail that restart, and he sure did. We'll go back and look at that caution and that crash here shortly, but we'll follow along as Kinsella comes around to finish out the race as your winner here tonight. And well earned. I mean, the strategy was right there for this Adrenaline Motorsports driver, so he's got this figured out, Finian. I mean, he knew that the 74 would beat him on pit lane every single time unless he changed his strategy. He changed it, and it will bring him to victory lane in the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series in round 5 of the season. Andrew Kinsella rounds turn 4. He's going to make it back to the checkered flag. Kinsella wins at ISM Raceway.
And Blocker gonna probably be a little bit disappointed with that. Gave Kinsella everything he could. Just really didn't have the luck, and also just not the best calls on strategy. But we'll get a solid second place, and Henry Bennett will continue his consistent climb with 4 top 5 finishes.
It's been such a solid season for the 007. He will no doubt leave here with the continued points lead. So Kinsella's going to roll around here and celebrate here on the front straightaway. Well-earned victory for the 14 at Kinsella. Blocker is going to join him on the front stretch. And you know what? As a team, they got to be thrilled with that, Finney. Look at this. Lined up at the start-finish line. And here comes the 41 right through the middle. And burnouts for all 3 drivers here at the front. Whoop, and Kinsella got that front wing in the fence.
Didn't even pass back.
Oh, Blocker, I know. Whoop, okay, well.
Didn't pass back either.
They won't look pretty in the racing museum now, but at least they had fun doing it. All right, let's go back and take a look. Before we interview anybody, let's go back and take a look at the caution that brought out the end of the race here. And unfortunately, it was the 77 that got the short end of the stick. He ended up finishing 12th. But here is a look at that incident. It was Lichtenberg on the inside, and I would say that I don't think the 77 left Lichtenberg enough room here, but let's take a look. Yeah, you kind of pinched him there, Finian. I mean,
well,
it was aggressive.
I think he pinched him, but I don't think that was really Lichtenberg's chance there.
I'll go along with that.
Yeah, I think especially with these cars too, you gotta know that you can't lean on a driver once you get to the corner. If you're gonna make contact, you're gonna end up crashing.
Yeah,
he barely had any room to try to make a move there, and kind of just threw it into the corner, trying to make a pass.
He really didn't have a whole lot of overlap there. So yeah, I would agree. I would agree with your assessment there. Put that on the 10 car. But I mean, in the 10 car's defense, you're 2 laps to go. You gotta try to stick a car in a hole, and unfortunately for him, there just wasn't much of one there, and he kind of forced away. And so Lichtenberg comes home 8th. The 77 comes home in 12th place. Here's a look at your race results scrolling along the screen here, but what a spectacular race here at ISM Raceway. We're going to talk to your winner and a couple others here in just a few minutes, so stay with us for those interviews. And of course, this race brought to you by the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Kokomo. They've come on board to sponsor a couple races this season, and we want to thank them for their continued support of SimTV and the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series. And of course, we'd be remiss without mentioning MYLAPS for sponsoring this amazing racing series as we continue with our 2019 season. Mid-Ohio next week. We're not done just yet. We're going to jump to break here shortly and bring you Kinsella, Blocker, and more. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
To get the best result, it's all about ambition, hard work, and doing the right things right. In 1982, 2 Dutch brothers invented an automatic way to time RC races. The system of the company, called AMB-IT, was quickly adopted by pro racing series like NASCAR and IndyCar. Automated timing for mass participation sport events was also invented in the Netherlands by Champion Chip in the early 90s, giving athletes a personal chip time of their performance. In 2008, the 2 companies joined forces, and MYLAPS Sports Timing was born. We never stop innovating with state-of-the-art timing systems and digital services to enhance the event experience. With our X2 platform, we bring motorsports timing to a whole new level with 2-way communication. Our event app and photo video create the ultimate event experience for athletes and fans, with live data and personal content like photos and videos. SpeedHive provides a pro-level racing experience for amateur and club events by analyzing personal data. We capture performances of over 20 million racers and athletes every year and use live data to spark emotions. MYLAPS. Experience progress.
Welcome back live to SimTV, here now with Logan Simmons, who finished top 10 this time. And Logan, it was kind of an up and down night for you. There was some contact early in the race, but you got your number 75 up inside the top 10 in the closing laps. How chaotic was it out there, and how did you get that 75 car up inside the top 10 at the end?
Well, I got it up there throughout the whole race. Restarts, you just had to time it out, and if you got people on the outside, that was your best bet to make up positions. And at the end, I just full throttled it. I didn't care what happened. I was going for it, and I hit the wall. Thank goodness caution came out, because I don't think I had some damage.
I'm taking a look at the start of the night. You started back in 30th place, and so you gained 20 spots in your climb forward tonight. So obviously very difficult to pass out there tonight with all the dirty air and the aero wash, but what were you doing to get around so many people? Because I think you were probably one of the biggest movers tonight in that 75. So how difficult was it to negotiate around the dirty air?
Well, I started off with about 13.3 on the wing, and on the stops, I was just incrementally increase it, and I wound up going about 40 degrees up on it, and at the end, it just paid off. It just was able to keep me moving because I was able to stay in the draft a lot better, or stay in the dirty air and be able to hold a line.
A top 10 result for the 75 of Logan Simmons. Congratulations on a top 10. I think this is your first top 10 of the season. Is that correct?
Yeah, this first top 10 of the season, I think, actually, in all the times I've run Indy Elite.
All right, well, congratulations on a first for you tonight in the number 75 here at ISM Raceway. Logan, thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week at Mid-Ohio. We'll see you later.
See you later.
Moving on now to Henry Bennett, who finished third tonight in the 007. Another solid points night as you continue to lead the point standings. Henry, certainly a solid night, but could you have won this race if you got a little bit more luck in the later end there with a few less cautions?
Yeah, fewer cautions would have helped. Our car was really strong, so the longer it went under green, the better off we were. There was almost no fall off with our set. But yeah, my result was pretty much decided by my teammates. By restarts, the first at the start, lost a place to Adam, never got that back. Managed to get alongside him when we were battling back through traffic, but that was as close as I got to repassing him. And yeah, Andrew was really strong as well. Yeah, and lost a few places on pit exit, and that held me back as well. So if not for those few mistakes, maybe I could have finished 1 or 2 spots higher.
As we near the halfway point of the season, you're leading the point standings. Do you consider yourself the favorite, or is there other drivers around you that you think might kind of pose a threat as we close in on the end of the season?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm the favorite. Maybe among a group of favorites, Adam is definitely up there as a favorite. Andrew, if he can string some more good results together, he should be up in the standings. But the other usual drivers that are up there in the standings in past years seem to be making quite a few mistakes, like Josh and the like. So yeah, it could be down to me and Adam.
All right, well, really solid night again for the 007. Henry, thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week at Mid-Ohio, another road course on the schedule. Congratulations. We'll see you there next week.
Cheers, guys. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. All right, moving on now to Frank Levick IV, who ended up coming home in 12th place tonight, Frank, but some drama there in the closing laps, contact with the 10. Your thoughts on that incident?
I'm not too worried, bummed out about it. I know, everyone's going to be racing hard during the last few laps. I kind of put myself in that position by messing up, or going too far forward in a pit stall a few cautions back. But, 12th is still, I think, a pretty good finish. And, just come back stronger the next round.
Talk to us about your night as a whole, though. You started 22nd, you finished 12th, you gained a bunch of spots. How tricky was it to pass, and what do you think was the preferred groove, especially at the end of the race?
I really like defending on the high line. I seem to have a bit more downforce than folks, so I had a lot of folks try to pass me on the inside, and I'm pretty sure it kind of surprised them how long I could stick out with them on the outside. I'd say that we were kind of weak during the start of a stint, but as everyone's tires kind of to wear down, the extra downforce really helped.
All right, well, hey, it's still a solid result, though, even though there was contact at the end of the race. Congratulations on surviving. I guess you could say you survived it. Made it to the end of the race, at least, and finished 12th with your Spark VR machine. Any final thoughts before we head out to Mid-Ohio next week?
Nope, just want to thank Spark VR again for all their support back, and visit them if you can out in Vernon, Connecticut.
All right, well, Frank Levick IV coming home 12th place in the number 77 Spark VR machine. We're going to head on next to the next driver in the field, which was going to be second place Adam Blocker. And whoop, I got Finian dragged in. We're all backwards now. All right, I want to talk to Adam Blocker, who finished second tonight in the number 74 car. Adam, kind of a crazy end of the race here, but the strategy is maybe what bit you out for a victory tonight. Are you still happy with the second place, and would you do anything different if you could run this race over?
Yeah, I mean, obviously happy with second. We had a really good set, and it showed in power slide getting a 1, 2, 3. But yeah, kind of got the lead on in the pits early, and really had control of the race. And then, yeah, it was just one of those deals where we hadn't stayed out long enough for tires to make a difference. So Henry and I decided to stay out, and then it just ended up being that we got a lot of quick yellows to where we had a low amount of fuel. So we were forced to pit at an inopportune time, and it ended up being that we had to pit because if we had stayed out there, we would have had to pit under green and lose a lap. So I mean, we ended up at least compromising our strategy at the right moment. Like, we gave up our strategy correctly, but obviously, like, if I could do it again, I would have pitted when Andrew did, and then probably would have won. But yeah, then I still had a chance at Andrew in the last few laps if we hadn't got those last couple of yellows, because I was getting pretty good runs, but just every time I would get a good run, we got a yellow. So.
Coming into the night, you were in fourth in the point standings. Of course, we head to another road course next week at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. Your thoughts on the road courses, and do you feel like you're going to be competitive at them come to the rest of the season, and do you think you can be a championship contender? Because it certainly looks like you and your team are going to be high up there in the standings.
Yeah, I mean, I think it obviously depends on who does well at Michigan and Auto Club, because those are double points. But I mean, for sure, I mean, Henry, Andrew, and I are all, I think, championship contenders, and then maybe some other guys that do well at those double points races. But yeah, definitely feel good at road courses. Definitely feel like I can at least get a podium, and then yeah, I feel good at the short tracks too. But unfortunately, I don't think we have many other short tracks. So yeah, just definitely looking for a good result at Mid-Ohio and just go from there.
Any final thoughts heading out of ISM into Mid-Ohio, or is that all for the night?
Just want to thank the team we had a really good set tonight. That's why we were really strong. So yeah, really good job for us, and big thanks to Andrew and Henry for everything they do. And yeah, see you guys at Mid-Ohio.
All right, Adam, thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week. All right, we're going to talk now, finally, to our winner of the tonight, Andrew Kinsella, the number 14 car. Andrew, a great, well-thought-out race. Earlier in the race, we were confused watching the pit exit because it seemed like you were beating the 74 to the pit-out line, but you figured out if you just changed up the strategy, you'd come out on top. Was that a conscious choice to get off the strategy of the 74, or was there something else to that?
It was basically... Actually, it came down to a disagreement between teammates. I thought that I was making the right call, and Adam thought he was making the right call, and it turned out that I did make the right call, and it could have backfired on me if not enough people behind me had pitted. But I figured that a lot of the setups from the people behind me were falling off quick. So even that short run, they would have taken those new tires, and fortunately, I only fell back to about 12th there and was able to carve my way back up through. But yeah, in terms of the pit exit, I thought I was beating Adam out too. So I don't know, it might be an iRacing thing, but yeah, I think overall, very pleased with the strategy. Definitely a good race. I think we had the best car hands down out of everyone there, and just happy we could take it home with the 1-2-3.
Next week, we head to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, another road course on the schedule. How do you feel confidence-wise about heading to another road course, and how do you think you'll perform there and at the other road courses throughout the rest of the season here?
I mean, I love driving road courses. They're a lot of fun, really challenging, but I'm realistic. I'm just hoping to get a top 10, maybe squeak out a top 5 if I can swing it. As long as we get a good set, I think I've got a good chance. I think Adam will definitely be at or near the top. Same with Zach Campbell and a couple of other guys, Henry as well. So if I can squeak out a top 5, I'll be happy with Mid-Ohio, and then just look to the next oval to keep up the momentum.
Andrew Kinsella, winner here at ISM Raceway. Congratulations. We'll see you next week in Mid-Ohio.
Thanks, Kyle.
Absolutely. All right, well, that's going to wrap up the interviews here tonight. Finian, what a race we saw. There was action left, right, upside down. We saw a couple cars turned over, a couple cars getting involved in some multi-car accidents, but all in all, a triple sweep of the podium from one team, Finian, Kinsella, Blocker, Bennett. And they're all going to jump up in the point standings heading into Mid-Ohio next week. Your thoughts after a wild one here at ISM Raceway?
Yeah, it was a pretty solid race. There were a lot of action through most of the night. And also love the fact that we really didn't know for the most part who was going to win, at least between Kinsella and Blocker, and even Chin there with a last-second surprise. He looked like he might have had a shot. So a lot of changing of the order throughout the race made it very unpredictable and just very exciting to watch.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our broadcast of the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series round number 5, the Diet Coke 150 Memorial, of course, in memoriam of Kevin Kuhns, who brought the Coca-Cola bottling company of Kokomo to iRacing into the Indy Elite Series. So I want to thank the Coca-Cola bottling company. That's a mouthful to say every single time. There's got to be an acronym or something for it. I need an acronym is what I need. But anyway, we want to thank them for being so active and helping us out and helping the series out. So we look forward to continuing the season with them. If you're wanting some more racing action, you don't have to wait too long because we go live in another about half an hour for the Yinzer Graphics Unreal Tour Playoff Racing from Talladega, NASCAR truck style. We'll see you at 9:40 Eastern for that race. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week from Mid-Ohio in Lexington, Ohio. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.